be able to go outside and get to say to your next door neighbor, sure, could you pass the bus? You know, we used to do these things. We can't even do it anymore. So I think by all the organizations that we have out here right now, if we all come together as one, we can all get these things. Thank you. First, I wanted to thank Mr. Tucker for inviting me. And so I am, as it was mentioned, I work for State Horizon, and I have been doing victim advocacy work for over 24 years. And it's the type of work that I really feel like it's part of my life. It's, you know, it's a way of life. I don't know the countless amount of victims that I've dealt with. Unfortunately, many of them have lost their lives, so we're dealing with the families and the community. And in every single situation, I'm always touched because I'm always saying, therefore, dear wife, for the grace of God, that, you know, we go outside, you know, I'm thinking about this little boy who on his way to school. I think he stopped at a Dunkin' Donut, or he was going through a Dunkin' Donut and shot him in the head. Although this may not be my child, this is my child. You know, and so every life that's lost, it takes something away from us. You know, yes, I get paid to do the work that I do, but the payment is nothing. Especially when I think about the lives that are lost or just impacted. You know, watching the film, I forgot his name, but the young man who was shot, and then he was like, the gun violence that's really, really old. And I don't think, you know, I mean, I know all of you in here, you know, understand that, but I just really don't think that people really, really get it, you know, just how generationally that trauma and that violence and that suffering has made such an imprint on our lives, on our family patterns, on our family processes, and then it's spilled over into the community. So again, thank you for allowing me to be here. And I'm just so overwhelmed. You know, the film really overwhelmed me, really. And I really appreciate, you know, the stories that you have. You know, when you were talking, you know, I was like, wow, you know, like she lost 2 sons. You know, it's very humbling, you know. So just as I hope that I can lend something to this process tonight, I'm getting just as much back from you. So thank you.
Good evening. Omar Jackson, as mentioned in the bio. First, I just want to thank the organizers for allowing me to be here. East Harlem native, born and raised in East Harlem, introduced to violence intervention and prevention work over 2 years ago, and it has become my life since. I currently, as mentioned, I run a CBI program where we're on the front line doing violence intervention and prevention work in housing developments that have been high in violence. We also have a team inside the hospital where we're responding to violence in real time, offering support to victims and their family. And we're also inside Horizon Juvenile Detention Center, where we just working with the youth, just trying to get them to change their mindsets, and change their way of thinking, and offer them resources for when they come home. But some of them, they aren't coming home anytime soon, but we try to prepare them for what's next for them, and what to look forward to. As I sat here and watched the film, very powerful, very impactful, and hear you speak. I'm just honored to be here. This is my calling, to just give my voice, give my whatever I can to, stop another shooting, to stop another mother from grieving, communities from hurting, and just give my voice. Thank you for that.
So, first question, from your experience, and this goes to all of you, you can decide who wants to go first, but from your experience, what has been effective in combating this epidemic of gun violence in your communities, and how could that be replicated across the country, do you think?
For me, what's been most effective is consistency and trust. Again, just speaking of the work and how we do the work, we have to be consistent. We have to show up. We have to, like, the mentality of no days off. Like I said, this is a lifestyle. We have to our phones. When I say like no days off, I mean Sunday nights. If we get a phone call from a kid and they're going through something, we have to answer that call. We have to show up, and it's not thinking I'm too good or afraid. I mean, we have to meet them where they are. We go to their apartments. We go to the building lobbies. We go to these hot spots and these corners where we know that it's a possibility that shooting may break out, right? And we have to meet them where they are and build that trust with them. And what does that look like? It's just having conversations. A lot of these kids are looking for love. A lot of these kids are just looking for someone to talk to. What I realized in doing this work, that they want to talk, especially if you give them one-on-one, away from their peers. Right? They want to unpack, and they're crying for help in a lot of cases. So that trust comes with time, building that rapport with them, taking them out of the neighborhood, taking them to get something to eat, and then it's like when you combine the authenticity with the resources, like education, employment, and emotional well-being, that's the recipe for change and success.
Mm-hmm. Because you talk about consistency and establishing the trust, and it seems to me like you're working in a very small area to be able to, relative to all of the areas in the city and country that need these kinds of programs, and so how do you spread that without having to reinvent the wheel? Do you think about that? Like, how do you spread the message and help other neighborhoods develop and other communities near or far to get these things off the ground and find the support that they need? Is that part of what you do, or are you? I mean, I think it's enough to be just laser focused where you are, but I'm just curious what goes into getting this started.
Well, first, I make myself available, and coming into spaces like this is part of it, right? I'm driving from Harlem to sit here and have this conversation. Like, who knows who I may meet and who I can talk to and how I can lend myself or a hand or even provide a resource. So, what it looks like is we do have what we call a catchment area, right? But this work is this work, right? So we don't limit ourselves to a catchment area, right? My organization currently works in 3 housing developments in Harlem. Like, that's considered our catchment area. But again, we come to Brooklyn, we go to Queens, the 13-year-old that I just mentioned. Like, we get really getting elected officials and donors to invest in this work so we can expand and grow doing this work, right? Because it is an epidemic, and if a shooting happens in Brooklyn, it still affects us in Harlem. When we talk about that 13-year-old, it affects us in Harlem or what happened in Queens, right? Because who wouldn't? It's us. It's the black and brown communities, right? And it doesn't matter whether you're in California, whether in New York City, it still affects us all the same way.
I just want to say, because a lot of what I do is the acronym of violence. There was a lot of talk in the film about mental health. And I just think that, we really have to broaden our mental health system and make it very culturally, sensitive to the types of, persons that we're dealing with. To really make it so that people don't see it as a stigma, that they really can embrace it and that they really can understand that, it's trauma. It's really trauma that they're going through. And it's not some type of, psychological pathology that they're experiencing. The pathology is really on the situation, on the violence. The pathology is not within us. And I think that, if we can really get that type of message out there and really replicate, mental health services all over in the various communities, like right now, it's very tough to get mental health services. There's either long waiting lists or persons don't have the money for it. You have people, therapists who charging thousands of dollars, just to go and see them. And I think that's really a shame before God. And I also think that it's part of that justice system that they talked about in the movie. Everyone benefits, but the people who really, really need it. So if we could replicate anything from where I sit, if we could really invest in the mental health component.
Everybody had came out and said some words, but I like to write mine down. But from my experience, what's been most effective and consistent is trust and presence in the community. At the Seven County Council, we show up after every shooting, for every grieving family, for young people before they ever pick up a gun. We combine street outreach, spiritual care, and partnership with law enforcement and local leaders. What make it work is trust. And that we can replicate across the country, invest in grassroots organizations that know the community and build relationships and never leave after the news camera alone.
So I'm going to skip down my list of questions because we are running a little low on time.
Okay.
And I really want to focus on what we can do, what we can do for next steps so for each of you to speak to how people can get involved, what is needed from the community, and also what can we do in terms of mobilizing with our elected officials, like what do our voices need to be saying and how can we be effective both at the community level and with the people who need our help and also with the people who are creating systems that are helping one hopes.
I can give you 5 aspects of our mission. We have anti-gun violence, community healing and empowerment, clergy and law enforcement liaison, crisis response, and youth community investment.
Well, I would say that every elected official should see that film. And I understand that they're more partisan in that. But I think that every single elected official should watch that film, because it tells the story and it also gives solutions. So that's what I would say. Thank you.
I agree with you. So we have to advocate, invest in those 5 things that you said, right? And most importantly, like I was saying, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Statistics, that we have the proof that this works, like it really works. So having conversations with elected officials, really getting them to understand, to really get that understanding of the work and how we do it, and even if they have to come see it in real time, canvass the community with us and see the response that we get, and, you know, share certain stories with them on how we got this person to change their lives around, stuff like that. I think that's what will be very helpful in the past.
Very powerful. I really think that it's hard. It's hard unless you're really able to feel it. I think.
You know, like, especially like on the news, we hear about shootings, right? We hear about violence on the news, right? But we don't hear about the good work that we do. Right? That's never magnified, right? We never hear about, you know, the success stories that we had. So we need to create a platform to where we can just speak about all the successes, right? Because I mean, we know that gun violence is definitely a problem in our communities, but we are doing some great work. So we could like magnify that and tell those stories, and then that'll change the narrative.
Once again, I want to thank, definitely, I see you sitting up in the back, Miss Moesha. She is the one that helped me put this together. She's from the cost. I want to thank Alex. I want to thank the rest of the crew because they've been exceptional on making sure that we get this done. We had a little craziness at the last part of it, but everything came together because of you and your staff to ensure that we were able to do this and show this film because it's important, as Ms. Ellis said, you know, to have every elected official watch this because it needs to be out. We need to understand, as I said, and I'll keep saying, what we can do together to end gun violence. I want to thank my dear friend Chris. She's always been a great supporter. She works with Martha and actually met her, had many conversations on what we can do to create more programs. I want to thank my mothers. I know a lot of the mothers are on a retreat tonight. You know, they went away, and so that's why we don't have a lot of mothers here. But as I said, I'm going to work with Ms. Moesha to find out when we can do this again because it's important. And I want to be able to show all of the faces that have been affected by gun violence and make sure that we have a real, true, open conversation. So thank you. I see my cousin. You know, I want to thank everybody once again for coming out and supporting. I ask everybody that's here to tell a friend, to look us up. Make sure you understand. You can go to my website, ladygunsdownnow.org, to find out what I'm doing next, which will be making sure that this film is seen every place possible. Thank you to Dennis for being a part of this. Thanks to our panelists, Ms. Ellis, thank you. My brother Mo, I'm sorry. Omar, Miss Pamela, and to all of the families, thank you for coming out. Look forward to seeing everybody soon. Everybody get home safe. Before you leave, please stop by the boards that's outside. Those are all of the victims of gun violence. Take a picture because it's important. Share it on Facebook. Share it on any social media platform because we need to stop this. Thank you. Everybody.
We made it. The third event. We made the third event. Let me tell you something. I used to go to back-to-back event when I was doing this work. And I did it again. I made it. Oh. Okay, let's go see the board. It's such a long time since I had to do back-to-back. Who? Okay. Oh, just ask her where the bathroom is?
Yes.
Okay, she needs to know the bathroom, please. You have to go up the stairs.
In the dance room, and then you make a left.
Okay. Sorry, thank you so much. No problem. Up the stairs. It's beautiful. This is a beautiful theater, guys. Look. It's a beautiful theater. Beautiful theater. I love the fact that they have the photos. Look at Michael. Look. Wow. All right, again, let's go. To the front. Let's go see the. What is the names?
October.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, to November 1st.
So here's the names.
Asia.
I thought he had the pictures. He didn't have the pictures. He didn't have the names. Wow, this is from 2025, guys. John Doe unknown. 29 years old. This is just from the next two since April. 2024. 2024. Okay, this is January. January. I like the fact that they put your names on. Oh, guys, there's a lot of people.
There go my other sister Marie.
Hey, how are you?
Now you see how I remember. Now I remember.
Sean Paul's my third event.
Sean
Paul, my
How do I, man?
John Paul.
I couldn't.
John Paul.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're here. So we're about to go up the stairs. Oh, thank you so much. We're going home. Yeah, I already did the third event. Mike is down there. If you're looking for Mike, he's still down there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm climbing up these stairs. Remember back in the days when I could be able to run, climb up 10 stairs. Now it's a lot slower for me to get over here. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. And we look forward to you seeing more stuff because we're going to continue to start filming all the events that I attend like I used to. All right, thank you so much. If you are part of my channel, please please share. If you're not, please join, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for being here. Okay, bye-bye, guys.